All right now, Trey, 4, 7-11, the deuce, and the 9. Hoover Hay to culture enthusiasts, the Hoover Knights, the Hoover Collective, and to the people. Look here, yeah, I'm a little late tonight, man. I've been on the phone with Hoover Joe, having, just some deep conversations about the communities, you know what I mean? Our people, the pros and cons, that sort of thing, man. How to view certain approaches, you know what I mean, or certain how to deal with certain approaches and propaganda. Um, it was a it was an informative conversation, man. So I will air that conversation as well. I just wanted to get into this thing, man. Pick up where I left off at last week or earlier in the week, man, when we were talking about what's going on in social media and how certain platforms are putting forth these narratives, man. This content that we see out there, man. A lot of it, like I said, man, on the face of it, a lot of you guys and you women don't see it as messy. But make no mistake about it, man, that is what it is. It's messy content. It's the type of content that receives uh those hits and likes, those subscriptions. It's the type of content that jibe with the algorithm in order to receive those hits and likes, that check. You know what I mean? So dudes, they tend to go after that, they say, hey man, don't nothing matter but the check, If that don't speak to the reality of how cats really see shit, then I don't know what does. But for me, it ain't about that, man. It ain't about that, man. It ain't about the check, man. It ain't about salacious or fallacious content, that we under the groove will put out to the people in order to get hits and likes, you know what I mean? Because I think, it's a disservice to the community or the communities on a whole, you know what I mean? We got so much already to contend with. And to have this type of stuff out there, these narratives and this content piled on top of what we're all dealing with on a daily is just detrimental, man. It really, it only serves one purpose. And a lot of you guys and women, you're logical, you're thinkers, you're intelligent by nature, man. Get past, the BS, man, to see what's really going on. I had a thought, man, that, there are two schools of thought uh, dealing with this type of stuff, man, that we see on the internet every day. One is, especially though, I'm speaking to directly the content we saw on rap news and street politics. It serves one purpose or two. One is, it's to me, in my opinion, and then there are others who have the same opinion. It caters to, or there's an attempt being made to create funk, to create issues, in the communities, like I say, at large, think about that. Think about that. More funk, that's more content. You know what I mean? Brothers getting shot up, going to jail, dying, that's content to these brothers, man. And that's I think that's sad, man. That's sad. And I think again, there's not a place for it, especially in our community at this day and time. And there's too much we're up against in terms of what really needs to be dealt with, spoke on, and addressed, what addressed, spoke on, and dealt with. Put it like that. Um, you drop this type of content to create content. You know what I mean? I noticed rap news and street politics went and looked at my episodes and they extracted, what I'm saying, my content and used it in such a way to create this narrative that, man, no matter how it sounds to you guys, trust me, they created a narrative to put Hoovers in a bad light, in a bad light. Wanton killers, just, we do anybody, da 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 da. What that does is it's almost setting a precedent. Like he said, well, Hoover Joe started Hoover, and as a result, he set a precedent, on some shit that happened decades after he started Hoover. but he's still setting a precedent, you know what I mean, for other Hoovers to follow. But think about it, not just other Hoovers to follow, but people outside of Hoover, you know. You're putting forth this mindset, this behavior, this attitude, and you're basically telling cat this how, you know, hey man, this to get out, you know, this is what it is, and hey man, either you know you do it or you get done, you know. And I disagree with that shit, man. So that's the first school of thought, that this content they call content, these narratives, man, are created to create funk, real shit, you know. And think about it, man. Summertime is here. Summertime is here. We're in LA. Cats want content. If nothing else, they want content. And it has to be negative. It has to be negative. That's the only way they're going to get the check, man. That's the only way they're going to get the numbers to get the check. You know what I mean? Think about that, man. You got the Olympics coming in 2028. See, dudes don't even know how they cater to the system. You know, so you create the, you know, this atmosphere through your content that in its own way, you know, little do you know, you're helping people to prepare to do these sweeps, get brothers off these streets, so that these Europeans in the tens of millions can come to Los Angeles and enjoy the Olympics. You know, they don't want nobody, you know, from outside the US or in the US, you know what I'm saying, getting jacked, you know, unlived or whatever the case may be, because you know you got this element, or you know you got this mindset of individuals out here trying to get the bag. You know what I mean? Uh, it really, man, it's just a situation where you're helping to propagate, you know, to push forth, you know, an agenda that don't help us. It does not help us. That's first school of thought. My other thought, and others, you know, who think, you know, in a similar frame, man, is that, you know, some individuals just don't like Hoover, you know? And so you could create narratives, you could create certain content to make others outside of Hoover who don't like Hoover as well to come, you know, and create, you know, havoc, chaos. Again, though, it serves content. It serves the bottom line, man, the clicks and the licks, you know, that check. And I'll say, man, it's wrong, you know, but it's not wrong, it's detrimental. And it's detrimental, man, to anybody who, some of these minds, man, are not formulated enough, or have evolved enough or mature enough to let some of this shit go in one ear and out the other. When they hear it, they lock it. It's locked in, man, into the psyche. It becomes a part of their thinking. And I'm telling you, that's bad, man. That's bad. I don't see brothers putting out content where they're talking about, hey man, here's some structure, man. You know, you know, here's something positive for you to do, man, or you know, to say, or you know, this is how you should be in terms of ethics or what the case may be, man. They're not doing that. They're not telling brothers, hey man, hey, you see but hey man, give them a pass, man. You know, and I don't care what nobody say, man. Shit, dudes get caught, they want to pass. Okay, how bad they are. They want to pass, you know? So anybody out there that, you know, want to profess that, you know, they don't mind being unlived, or they don't give a damn about living, that's BS, man. That's BS, man. We all aspire to live, you know? We all aspire to live, man. Um, so listen, when I'm talking about this, the things I talk about, man, I'm talking about them for a reason. You know, I'm not just some cat that was half-ass in this shit. You know what I mean? You know, on the fringes of it, you know, or from the outside looking in, I was involved in this shit. And I'm telling you firsthand, it's detrimental, bro. It's detrimental. And like I said, it don't just knock down the individual that was knocked down. It knocks down the individual that knocked down the individual and the family on both sides. People are impacted, man. They are impacted, you know, by this behavior, man, by these mindsets, man. You know, again, man, I'm willing to wager there's not one dude out there who does not think about living, man. You know, For a lot of us, it took a long time for us to really understand that concept. And I'm not saying that that's the case now, or that should be the case now. Hey man, well, it took you a while to get to that point. I'm telling you, we didn't get that because, again, there was so much going on in society and our communities that we didn't understand. You know what I mean? There were not pillars and elders there to instruct us, to guide us right, even if what, we were a part of seemed wrong to the majority of society. They had got caught up in sweeps and shit. Them dudes was doing life sentences. And you know what? We followed right behind them. We did life sentences, you know? We missed so much, we missed so much. We not only miss family, our mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, our children. We miss the opportunity, man, to evolve. Serious shit, man. We were sitting up in prison, man, and no matter what nobody tell you about prison, man, prison is not necessarily a good place. It's not a good place. Some of us just learn how to strive and thrive in prison. Some of us were able to grow and mature in prison just as a result of being in prison. It's a hellhole, man. You know, it's a hellhole. It ain't what dudes make it out to be. I don't care who you are, man. What pen you been to, man. How much time you did. Once you're up in there, man, I'm telling you, you're praying to your God, man, your Savior, whatever, to get you up out of there, man, because you're supposed to be in there, man. And if you got any real morals about yourself, you think about what got you there. You think about it. Dudes talk tough, man. Trust me. That's part of the culture. But it ain't the real deal, man. I was just talking to Joe, and he had watched the episode where I said, man, I don't be in my feelings, homie. And to a large extent, that's the truth. I'm gonna get to the questions in the chat in a minute, people. Just let me drop this right quick. And to a large extent, that's true. I tend to stay out of my feelings, man, and I'll tell you why. Because I still do not know how to control my feelings, bro. I know how to stay away from them. That's it. But I do not allow myself to get caught up in my feelings because I don't understand them in such a way to where I can control them, to where in such a way to where I can, you know, uh, act upon them in a way that's not negative, that's positive, in a way that's going to build me up or those around me up instead of tearing me down or me having me tear somebody else down. You know what I mean? You know, Joe lighted. He spoke on the fact that there's nothing wrong with feelings, and to a large extent, that's true. That's true. We should all have this ability to not only allow ourselves to deal with our feelings, but control them. You know, um, my thing is, like I said, I don't necessarily think that I can control my feelings, and that's why I stay away from them. You know what I mean? When I talk about my brother, or loved ones, or just brothers in general, taking these hits, man. I don't care where they from, man. It's this thing, man. It's an emotional thing because I realized logically, I realized the damage, the loss of brothers, man, and sisters, to this shit, man. And I don't know how to deal with that. I'd probably cry like a baby if I let myself go. If I let myself just dwell on the death and destruction, man, that's been out there for decades, you know, you know. So when I say, man, and I told you, I said, man, I stay away from my feelings, bro. I just want to be logical, like think like a man. He said, man, but part of being a man is not just being able to deal with your feelings, allow your feelings to, what I'm saying, present themselves, man. But, part of being a man is knowing your feelings and knowing how to control them, which is true. I haven't reached that point, man. I'm 60. I still don't know how to deal with that. And that's why I stay away from them. We're dealing with some shit, man. And I'm telling you, man, just from what I know, like I said, just from what I know, feelings, man, feelings in a lot of ways, it lead us down the wrong way. You know, it leads us down the wrong way. It puts us in predicaments and positions, man, we can't find our way from out of or from. You know what I mean? We're locked in this situation because of our feelings. Be about money, be about your set, be about a woman. You know, feelings, man, is the culprit, in my opinion, to a lot of what's wrong because we do not know how to deal with or control, our feelings, you know? I don't know, man, but I need to have to continue that conversation with Joe. The only thing that stopped us just now. I'm late because I've been talking to Joe for the last hour. Um, I need to continue that conversation with Joe, man, and hopefully I can bring back something to the people, some content that's worthwhile for people to listen to, to get a bar of, man. So we can start having these discussions, man, about us as not just men but women, but as individuals, as a people. I think that's so important. I think it's so important. All right, man. That said, man, um again, I'm back to continue that conversation from Tuesday about rap news and street politics, you know what I'm saying, and other individuals and Hefe and all the these brothers putting this stuff out here, to where it's not helpful. It's not helpful. If we're talking about being a certain way, then let's be that. Let's be that. No matter what side of the coin we're talking about, be that. Don't straddle the fence, man. But some of this shit, this content or these narratives we see, like I said, is detrimental, man. And we don't know where that's coming from. You don't know why all of a sudden this shit start dropping like this. You know, we can make assumptions. You know what I'm saying? I can propose that, hey, man, summertime coming. And hey, for all I know, it could be them people at work. We got to get clear streets. We ain't got a lot of time, So let's use this summer to do the sweeps we need to do, man. Get rid of these kids and lock them up for 30, 40, 50 years or better so that, we can do what we like doing, Get rid of the scum. That's how they see us. Get rid of the thugs. Get rid of these game bangers, these people. Anyway, man, G-Rock, what's happening, man? G-Rock says our dysfunction is on display for the world to see. It's not good. Real spit, bro. And we got brothers that are advocating this stuff, man. They are advocating it, man. And I mean, it's just not in LA. The shit that spread it out so far and wide, man, that damn near everything black, you know, got a gang mentality, man, a thug mentality, or I don't give a damn mentality. And all that's doing, that mentality is hurting us. It ain't hurting nobody else, man. I haven't seen it hurt nobody else. You know what I mean? I haven't seen it. I asked the brothers from down south, how do they reconcile hurting each other as opposed to those elements that really want to see them dead? I would like an answer to that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of shit, man. It's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit, man. But anyway, that was G Rock's comment, man. Eastside Trey, shout out to the groove thing, man. Much love, man. Respect back to you, Eastside Trays. Neil, what's happening, bro? I see you back, man. It's always a pleasure, man. Real insightful dude, man. I like how you drop your shit, man. Your questions make sense. They're mature and progressive, But Neil says, Bub, people are eager to get likes and clicks without a moral circumference, which is true, bro. And I'm that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man. It's like here's the thing, man. YouTube function on an algorithm. I'm telling you, man, and y'all know this better than me. I'm like I said, I'm not no tech savvy dude, man, not in the least. But what I have learned is that YouTube functions on an algorithm, man, that really is designed to get the clicks or to bring people to sites that display or put narratives or content out that's harmful, violent, a lot of messy shit, bullshit, clown shit, you know, nothing positive though. You don't see, not in America. You don't see those websites that's speaking about positivity in the community getting, clicks and licks and likes, man, on a level that's damn near where it went viral. It's rare. It's rare, bro. But you could tune in to any of them sites, man, especially in LA that deal with LA politics, LA gang activity, and of things of that nature. They blow YouTube up, man. YouTube, man, they'll give them plaques and shit and bigger checks. Yeah, and basically saying, hey, man, keep putting that out there, man. We got you. That's just the reality, man. Young King, peace to the guys, homie. Like, subscribe, and share this live, people. Like, subscribe, and share this live, man. That's to get down, man. Casper 042. I'm reading the Boo Capone book. Have you read it? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Be quite honest. No, I haven't, man. Last book I read was Tony Stacy's book. Before that was Tookie's book, but I do read other type of literature. I stay in my political literature, my historical literature, you know what I mean? But no, I did not read Boo Capone's book. And to me, that's a sign, an indication I need to grab that book. I need to pick it up and read it. So I will do that. I give you my word on that. All right. Neil says, man, Neil, you in there, boy. Classes started by our people to teach basic job getting and creating a job skills after school programs for African American children should be held at least 1 to 2 hours helping with homework. Again, that's something I just alluded to, the fact that, prison is this place, man. And I'm telling you, it's a dungeon. It's messed up. But there was a time in prison when you had to study. You had to read. And man, listen, man. And that went not just for those under paperwork. You know what I mean? It was just, it was the culture. Get the knowledge, man. Get the knowledge. And I'm telling you, I think that was a helpful thing, man. I think that served a lot of brothers. A lot of brothers were served by that structure, man, that put in place. And that, like you said, an hour or two. I think, man, study period was something like, yeah, an hour or two. You know what I mean? No television, no radio, no Walkman, no nothing, but study books, essays, writing essays and shit. You know what I mean? And that's what that was for, man. And again, I think that was not just was it progressive, but I think it was helpful just in terms of lacing brothers with understanding and knowledge. And a whole lot of them gathered wisdom from that stuff, man. Master Cody was one of the recipients of that program, of that part of the culture in prison. He amongst many. Tony Stacy, Joe, all of them, Mad Who, all of them. That was something that was mandatory. It was mandatory. When I got to prison, man, I remember it was me and Milo, Mice, Maitre Hoover. We hit Soledad prison, man. I think 85, 85, 86. We the two youngest dudes on the yard. And, we wasn't under no paperwork. I've never been under paperwork or nothing like that. But we thought, man, it just came from the streets where it's going on, that it's going down, Nobody tell me nothing. I'm did and start, put in my work, whatever. Shit. Man, them G's corralled us, man. Got us up on the bleachers, man, under some other pretense, man. We got us up on the bleachers, man, and surrounded us. Man, this was happening. I'm not gonna be out here on this yard every day, man, just bullshitting and start picking up these books. Here, matter of fact, Buck from 11 Deuce, Whole Array, Big Bam from 11 Deuce. We had homies, man, this was getting at us. Yeah, I need you to read this book, man. I need you to not only read it, but come back and tell me what your understanding, what your interpretation of what you just read. Then another homie, Whole Array, and them said, I need an essay. I need you to write me a 2-page essay. Like, man, what the fuck, you in this school? And motherfucker looked at us like, motherfucker, we not playing. We knew they wasn't playing, you know. But it reminded me of my mama. I'm like, boy, where you going? I'm finna go out. No, you ain't. You gonna read this book right quick. Read this book first, then go out. Read me a chapter. I'm 13, 14. You know, I'm fresh out of camp and shit, 15, 16, fresh out of YA. Mom pushing the line. You gonna read this book. I didn't get it then. I get it now. I read them. I did what I was told. And I appreciate that now, man. I'm able to, divulge to you, give you guys some of what I picked up, man. And there's a reason for this shit, man. A lot of y'all ain't gonna get it now, and let's hope that it's not too late, man. But it's gettable. The knowledge that you need, man, just to survive in this world, and I mean beyond your streets, your hoods, your blocks. You know what I'm saying? Your set. We need this knowledge, man. We need these study periods and shit for real. Even if you active, before you hit them streets, man, pick up a book. Pick up a book. Ain't gonna hurt you. Ain't gonna hurt you. Neil says, with poor education, failure is the destination. That's just real spit, man. That's just real spit, man. Young King said, the groove is ours, speaking truth to power. Share, subscribe, and let's share this live. Again, like, subscribe, and share this live, people. Under the groove. The groove is ours, speaking truth to power for about an hour. Like, subscription, share this live. Yes, sir. Marcellus Maxi, facts, man. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. What's happening, Cleveland? What's happening, bro? Cleveland Ross says it's black self-destruction to our community. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. But I'm telling y'all, man, man, and I don't want to predict no BS, man. No harm, no hurt, no nothing, no sorrow to nobody in any community. But we've been lined up, man. We've been lined up, man. Not just for failure, man, but to witness, man, just more destruction. Summertime's here, man. Y'all watch what I tell you. Watch the content. Watch how I drop, man. Listen to what they talking about, man. And you tell me if these dudes ain't part of whether they know it or not. Unbeknownst to a lot of cats, they'll understand what they catering to. But watch what I tell you, man. These dudes are trying to set up some shit to where this summer, it's going to be a summer to be remembered in the wrong way. And all I'm trying to say to us, man, is what side of history we going to be on, man, for real. Again, a lot of us was on the wrong side of history, a lot of us, but at the same time, by the same token, now, today, a lot of us, we want to not rewrite history, but we want to reset this get down, man, in terms of our legacy. We want to put forth some shit to the people, man, especially the youth, especially our young brothers and sisters. Like, hey, man, this shit a trap. This shit a straight up trap. It ain't gonna serve nobody. It's not gonna serve none of us. And dudes said in the comments all the time, other podcasters said, other brothers from other sets said, ain't nobody winning. Ain't nobody winning, man. You cannot tell me you winning. You cannot tell me you the baddest motherfucker when you got just as many obituaries as the next set that you claim to be better than, or when you got just as many homies as the other set that you claim to be at war with. Ain't nobody winning, man. Ain't nobody winning. One thing Aunt Hefe said, man, and I have to agree. I have to agree with him because it's solid shit. Don't nobody own nothing. Don't nobody own nothing. And I'm telling y'all, man, I keep spitting that, man, because that's a reality that a lot of us won't face. We don't own the liquor stores we go buy our drink from, our cigarettes from, the clothing stores we go get our gear from, you know what I mean? The shoe stores we go get our Nikes from, the weed dispensaries we get our weed from, we don't have that type of get down, bro. Most sets, hoods, blocks, gangs, can't even go on their street. because they don't own no property on it. Because they don't own any property. We ain't got shit, man. You know? But hey, gotta see the bigger picture, fellas. We have to see the bigger picture. Blake Moody, what's happening, man? H up to you too, homie. All right, Al Thomas, I see you, man. Drop a comment, though, brother. Same for you, Antonio Anthony. Drop a comment. What up, Milk? Come on in here, man. What you got to say, bro? Young King said, man, there go little bro. I see you, God. He's talking about Al Thomas. Al Thomas here all the time, man. Appreciate him, too. Yeah, yeah. Like Young King said, man, peace to the gods, man. Like, share, subscribe to this live, man. Let's get the people up in here, y'all. What's up, Milk? Yep. Listen, man, like I say, man, for me, it's just a matter of, man, speaking truth to power, man. I know my role in this shit, you know. I know my role in this shit, man, and those who know me know, you know. Um, I ain't pleased with that shit, man. You know, I ain't pleased with that shit. I had a little brother that followed in my footsteps. He was a blood though, but everything he was, and this is just not my opinion. These are facts. My family said, you know, most of his people said he mimicked me, but he was a blood. Um, when we lost him, man, 2004, like I said, man, I didn't know what to do, you know, and it was at that time I could speak truth to power, man. I didn't have no control of my emotions, you know. I didn't have no control over my emotions. After I came down, after I, you know, was able to get myself together, man, and calm down, you know, and try to figure out, man, you know, not just what went wrong, but damn, man, how do I A, B, and C, you know, or how do I deal with this loss? You know, I started thinking about my conduct, my ethics, you know, what I put before my little brother. You know, was it good? Or was it bad? I'm here to tell you it was all bad. I exposed him to a lot of shit that I shouldn't have. And I kind of felt like, I kind of thought that I was being paid back, you know, for all the shit I'd done and caught myself getting away with. Karma came and got me. That's how, you know, that's how I look at that, man. You know, and that might be my truth. That might be my perspective of it. Um, yeah, you know, this shit is real, man. You know, this shit is real. It's real life shit, man. It's live or die shit, man. And a lot of us don't respect that. We're not respecting life, man. You know, we're not respecting life, man. And I'm telling you, we respect it. What I've learned is we respect it by being this example, man. You can speak in truth to power, letting brothers know, like, hey, man, that shit ain't cool. That is not the cakewalk dude said it is. It ain't peaches and cream, man. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing romantic about this shit. We romanticize this lifestyle. And I'm telling you, man, only thing that's definite about this lifestyle, two things: death and prison. And I don't know how we can romanticize death or prison, man, especially if, you know, your death didn't leave a legacy, you know, or something, you know, solid, something productive, positive, man, for those who you left behind to build them up, make them better people, make them better men and women. You know, it's nothing romantic, or there's nothing you can romanticize about prison, especially if you go there and you come back same way you went in. And I'm telling y'all, man, I bet $1 to a donut. You got cats in there that have been in there 5 years, 10 years, 30, 40, 50. All they need to do is get out. All they need, and I'm telling you, you're not going to understand it. They're not going to be them same dudes, you know? And a lot of them might not come out saying to the community, hey man, this shit in there, it's a trap. This shit is all a trap. A lot might just come home and say, man, I wasted a lot of time. My life, man, I got just enough time to get my life right, to create a better legacy for my family, than the one that, that's already standing. I want to tear that down and build this up. It could be just family, they pushing for or whatever. But I bet you there's nobody in prison don't want to get out of there, man, and do something different, do something better. Not one. And if it is, and there are examples of them dudes that is, you had a brother that come up from a life sentence, man, and every day he was on somebody's podcast with the bullshit. Guess where he at? And it's still more bullshit, even in jail. Karma motherfucker, watch. Karma motherfucker. And like I was telling somebody a week or so ago, I was saying this on the Get Down, man. Dudes like Crip Mac and all them dudes coming up with a different perspective. And if they don't, trust, karma got something waiting for them, bro. You cannot go through this shit, man, and not learn something, man, not gather and gain wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Not do that, man, because if you do, hey, man, hey, but don't be them fools, man. And I mean that. Don't be those fools, them numb nuts. That's what I call them, man. They numb nuts. Blake Moody says, send my love, big bro. This shift, keep it coming. Yeah, bro. I already know how that go. You on the grind. Lil Bone Thugger. All right, man. I see you back. Arkansas in the house, people. Arkansas in the house. I don't know, Lil Bone, if you heard what I asked, man, about brothers down south and the culture, the gang culture. Let me put it to you like this. How do you guys reconcile down south, wherever down south, where you in a situation that is more, there's more racism there than it is here? How you guys reconcile not dealing with that, and yet you deal with each other on a level where you'll go at each other, but you won't go and confront racism. That was my question. How do you brothers reconcile that? Can you explain that? Can you share that? That if you have a response, can you share it with the people? I'd like to hear your take on that, bro. I'd like to hear your take on that. El Chevy says, hey man, black is being taught black is ugly. Yeah, here we go. Black is being taught black is ugly, or like they say, black cats are bad luck. But it's not true. It's a stereotype. We're brainwashed by those people's racism. And that's some true shit. That's some true shit. I had to learn that a lot of shit I did or a lot of reasons why I was or how I carried on was because I didn't love myself. And so when I saw that brother just as black as me, I didn't love him no more than I love me. I'm looking at a reflection of myself, and it was just hate. It was hate, man. Despised and detested that motherfucker. That's a result, man. That's a result of brainwashing, of racism. And that's some real shit, man. That shit is real. It's real, man. Anytime we'll hate somebody, like the brother said, man. Excuse me, people. Anytime we'll hate somebody over a street, and yeah, it's bigger than that. There are a lot of issues, a lot of intertwining, moving parts in that shit. But anytime, especially brothers today, though, hate another brother because of a street that nobody owns, you have to look at what's really the issue here. What's really the issue? A brother don't just hate that brother. That brother hate himself, man. And like I say, me, I can only speak to me. I know that's a fact. That's a fact, man. I got down like that because I didn't love my goddamn self. And like I said, man, I'm not trying to portray to nobody. And the homies know, like, most know, man, I wasn't the baddest I wasn't the baddest dude, man. You know what I mean? I wasn't no punk either. You know what I mean? But, I picked up a lot of bullshit, man, and I carried it. I carried that luggage, man, for a long time, bro. I carried them bags for a long time, bro. You know, and like I say, man, the turning point for me is when I realized I had put that shit on my little brother. I put that shit on my little brother, man. That was a turning point for me. That was 2004. I didn't actually get it together in terms of my thought processes and how I dealt with other brothers. Maybe it took me maybe 5 more years, 4 or 5 more years. Now that's not to say that when I dealt with brothers before that happened with my little brother and after that, I was a fucked up dude. The brothers, no matter where they was from, I wasn't. You know, I still had, I think, a lot of ethics in me, man. Like I said, my mom's raised us a certain way. We was poor as fuck. We weren't born poor, but they just happened like that. Circumstances put us in that situation. We became poor, grew up poor. But my mama had certain ethics, certain structure. You know what I mean? She was a Panther, and she was real about black people, man. You know what I'm saying? So I had that. Though I put it on the back burner, it still was in me. It existed within me. It took me that long, man. Like I say, 4 or 5 years for me to finally realize, okay, man, I'm the problem. I'm part of this problem. I think in my mind, I was the reason for my little brother's demise because my little brother was an athlete. Those who know. My little brother he was being drafted, man, by the Boston Red Sox, man. The boy was a baseball phenom. He was a football phenom. Go check the papers, man. He was in the paper. This dude was top grade athlete, and instead of me pushing him to embark on that, be in that lane, man, focus on that. I'm taking him out of town with me, him and his little homies and shit. And I'm exposing him to shit, man. There's a whole lot of brothers just like him. And they not being guided right. They're not getting that direction. I regret that shit. Yeah. So, man, we are brothers keepers, homie. Facts. We are brothers keepers, man. We look out for each other. We're supposed to protect one another, help each other to grow, evolve, and be better men. You know, I have failed, I live with that shit every day. You know, live with that shit every day. I got nephews, man, by my brother, man. One of them doing life in prison. One of them out here, man, and he trying to live his best life, man. Shit real, y'all. This shit is real, man. Kimberly Mitchell, what's happening, home queen? Kimberly Mitchell said, "What's up, OG? Just getting off work. So happy you're on. I can connect and excel with my real ones. It's so good to connect. Love you from all the bottom of my heart." Likewise, sis. Stay true to yourselves, people. That's what she's saying, everybody. Stay true to yourselves. Likewise, sis. A lot of love and respect, man. Yeah, man. Neil back, he's saying, man, the saying goes, the white man is shown helping, excuse me. The saying goes, the white man is shown helping his fellow brother up the tree, while the black man is pulling his brother down from the tree. You know, crustaceans in the barrel, you know what I mean? Or crustaceans in the bucket, you know? Thomas, man, what's happening? He said, going at another black man is akin to attacking a member of your own army. I refuse to play a part in the destruction of our black tribe. My job at this time is to uplift. That should be all our job, man. But we got to start uplifting, man, those brothers who need uplifting the most. And that's the hard part of the job, man. Getting to them brothers, man. Getting to them brothers. because they're in the thick of things. And right now, it'd be damn near impossible to try to, school them, lace them, redirect them, you know, to what we know is better, not just for them, but everybody coming up behind them, the families, man, the kids that they hope to have one day. And I'm sure they all hope to be dads and, mothers one day, but that's the job. That's the hard part, bro. Getting to those who need it most. Lil Bone Thugger. Lil Bone Thugger said, that's a hard one. I'm going to think on it. Yeah, homie, do that. Give that shit some thought, homie. Why it's like that, you know what I mean? Down there, you know, as opposed to why it should be like that down there. You know what I mean? We got to start questioning ourselves, man. Asking the hard questions of ourselves, man. Speaking truth to power. See, you can't lie to yourself, homie. If you sit down and talk to yourself, man, for the most part, yourself gonna tell you the truth. It's gonna tell you the truth, man. It ain't gonna be something, man. You could just, like you're talking to a female or you're talking to another dude, and you shooting the shit. You can get away with a quick one, a fast one. Cap. Yeah, if you capping to yourself, yeah, something really wrong with you. Something really wrong with you. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. G Mac, man, appreciate it, man. G Mac say, stay strong, bud. We got your back. And I'm gonna do that, man. I've been doing that. And like I said, man, my objective is to change my legacy, bro. It's to change my legacy. And I know when I deal with certain brothers, man, they just remember certain shit. They're not looking at me now. You know what I mean? They're not trying to understand me now or, interact with me now. Most of them do it based on back then or whatever, that perception that sticks in their mind about me back then. I say, man, I got a lot of meat, in this game, bro. A lot of us do. A lot of us do, you know. But not a lot of us, man, want to change, you know what I'm saying, or want to, reconstruct how we do shit, you know what I mean? Not only how we do shit, but how we see ourselves so that we can do shit differently, do it better, in a positive sense. I don't mean like do it better, how do I sell dope better? Or, how do I pimp better? How do I game bang better? No, not like that, but do better as men, you know? And I know, man, most cats see me talking that, man, what the fuck Bub on? Bub, nah, homie, I'm serious as mug, man. I'm serious, man. I'm serious. Like I said, man, I live with shit every day. I live with shit every day, man. And that's not to say I'm not at peace, with myself. That's to say, man, I live with shit every day, man, to keep me focused, keep me grounded, homie. Because it's the shit out here, you can lose focus quick. You can lose focus quick. That's why I was telling Joe, homie, I don't necessarily deal with feelings because I haven't mastered that yet. I'm 60. I haven't mastered that shit yet, man. So I'm afraid of indulging, what I'm saying, my feelings in terms of, empathy and sympathy and, what I'm saying, being able to, cry about something that's worth crying over. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I'm still in the struggle. I'm still in the fight, bro. And like I said, it's a million. There are millions more just like me, man. I'm just like millions and millions of other brothers, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. James Cash, man, what's happening? I ain't seen you. Yeah, I think you was here last week. Glad to have you back. Appreciate you being back, brother. James Cass says, love and respect my brother. Yes, you got to reach the ones who are hardest to get through too. All change starts with the individual, not just the collective. Appreciate you, Big Hove. Best wishes, one. But that's some real spit. It's the ones, man, that need the addressing the most. You know what I mean? It's those, man. They the ones, homie. Like I said, I can share with homies, man, whether they on the same understanding of mind, on the same plane as me, man, psychologically or not. For the most part, it's a waste of my time. I already know where they at. You know what I mean? I've had the discussions with them, you know what I'm saying? And I know, where they stand on shit. But it's the ones who are out there that I ain't really getting the bar of, that I don't really uh that I don't tap in enough with to understand, man, their way of thinking, their thought processes and things of that nature. It's them, man, that's out there every day who are the ones that need to be addressed, spoken to, man. Hey, man, let's go get something to eat or whatever the case may be. You know, I make it a point. I go through the set, man, and I look for the homies. You know, I look for them, and the spots change, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? But when I see them, I pull up, man. What's happening? How you doing, homie? What it do? What that Hoover like? I hit him with that too. When I leave H's, homie. But before I leave, I just want to make sure I impart to them, man. Hey, homie, gotta find a better way, homie. Want to see you here. Imagine these young brothers, man, on some more shit, on some positive shit, some self-building, community building shit, like they are on this gang shit. You know what I mean? Just imagine that shit. Imagine that shit, man. You know, and not to say that they're not, because I think a lot of them are, I think that a lot of them are. But when I look at, like I said, going back to what I started talking about, these podcasters and the shit they putting out there, it's like they trying to keep them in that shit. They try harder than us to keep them in it, to keep us from assisting them with extracting themselves from it. These dudes are working hard, man, to keep them in it. Like I said, man, the shit real though. The shit is real. Al Thomas, man, again, brother, appreciate you, man. Peace to the gods. He said, that's a tough task, bro. For every man trying to uplift those in need, we have 5 men/boys attempting to hold them down or hold them back with them. But that's truth to power. That's real, man. That's a fact. Again, we were talking about last week. We were talking about how toxic a lot of homies are, from the old to the young. A lot of them are like that. There are reasons they're like that, homie. A lot of them feel like they don't have a future. They ain't got shit. They ain't had shit. They ain't gonna get shit. So fuck it. A lot of cats are miserable. And misery love company, homie. That's a fact. So you saying, yeah, man, we got to contend, not just, getting at these youngsters, but we got to contend with those who keeping these youngsters in this mindset or helping or assisting them to be in this shit. I don't disagree. I don't disagree, man. Danny asked, did you know OG Peanut 7-4 from Seattle? No, I didn't know him personally, bro. No, I didn't. Yeah. He was pushing though. Again, man, that brother could have been right about now. He could have been a voice of reason, you know? Al Thomas says we have to lead by example. Actions hold more weight than mere words. Yeah, but then again, we're in a situation now where words and narratives, man, can hold more weight than a brother who's exemplifying, a certain perspective in terms of positivity and getting it done the right way. You know what I mean? Man, dudes can get on the internet and say some shit and it could be crap, but he said it or he presented it in such a way, dudes take that shit and run with it. Next thing you know, it's word of mouth, man. It's like Daniel Law. It was said, so therefore it gotta be true. It gotta be real. I ain't had to see a motherfucker do nothing. I just heard it. And that's what we're fighting against as well, man. We're fighting against false narratives, man. We're fighting against men BS content, to sit there that's doing a lot of damage, more damage than good to the communities. Trust, man, that the shit is real, man. Words, man. Man, listen. They say, um, back in the day, man, when we were dealing with people growing up as kids, and a white person called you the N-word or something, you go back to an elder and they'll tell you, well, just remember this little recital: sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words matter. Words are power, man. Words are power. Words are spells. Words are a whole lot of things, man, we don't understand, man, because we've been taken from understanding. Words, man, are detrimental. Real shit. Detrimental, man. And give you gang examples, man. You have all kind of leaders, black especially, you know, who are the example. But here comes, YT, and he used certain words, and them words were enough to affect that brother, to do something to that brother, get rid of him. Words are power, bro. That's what we're up against. We're up against these narratives and shit, man. These spells, man. Shit real, bro. Telling you, the shit real. James Cash, love you, big bro. All right, nothing but love and respect to you, OG. We're all we got. From the Comptons to the Hoovers, one, man. I'm telling y'all, ain't nobody coming to save us. Ain't nobody coming to save us, man. And they loving the fact that we ain't got enough sense, for the most part, to save our damn selves. You know, they gonna keep the system just the way it is. They ain't got to change it. Because they see that was shit. We ain't trying to shit. We ain't trying to do nothing for ourselves. We gonna kill each other off, man. That's what they say, man. They say, man, we ain't gotta kill them no more. You know, we'll let a few police knock them down and shit, knock down a few brothers and sisters. But for the most part, just sit back, man. They'll do the work for us. Some real shit, man. The Midtown Pookie, he said big old facts. It's real spit, bro. Bowden Michael Foe. Life is a constant change. This is what Bowden Michael Foe says. Life is a constant change. We grow and evolve. There are things we did in our youth. We know better as adults. We want and need to be better. I grew up where you did. I know who you is, home. Say less. I know who you is. I know exactly who you are, loved one. Yeah. Been a long time. I ain't seen you in a minute, but been a long time. Yeah. I hear you, King. Talking about one of the bays, man. He's a young guy, fit the lead. As well as the other one, Righteous Hebrew, fit the lead. Yeah. Brother Amir, the G, a righteous Muslim, fit the lead. We just need to get to it. Hey, we need to get to it. James Cash said words do have big impact depending on how they're used. But again, bro, and if you don't take my word for it, just there are texts, there are volumes, man, books, ancient shit from our people. Words are power, bro. Words are spells. Words are all kind of, man, you know, hey man, real spit, man. Just think about it. But we have to get to the point where we understand how these words affect us, how they click and tap into our psyche, because a lot of us, we've been rewired with the drink, the drugs, whatever. Our synapses are being rewired, our neurons are being rewired, reconstructed. And I'm telling you, man, the music is another thing. All this shit matter. It all plays a role in our demise. I'm just saying, bro. Like I say, for those that don't, who don't know or understand, go check out their volumes, their books on this shit, man. Our people wrote them. Go check them out. South Central Compton Watts, keep stomping. Real shit. G Rock, yeah, man. G Rock says black suffering is white theater. We already know that, right? Man. And it's always been that way, bro. They get a kick out of it. They get a kick out of it. Laugh and point. Like, look at them. Laugh and point and laugh, man. They just have a ball enjoying, our suffering, enjoying, like I said, our demise at our own hands. They love it. It's theater. Most of them probably watch half the shit put on YouTube and these podcasts in blacks. You know, truth be told, like they say about our music, most of them purchase more of our music than we do. Yeah. Kimberly Mitchell says, I feel that us females need to instill in our men, teach them that they are kings and little prince and little princess, little prince. They are the salt of the earth that can conquer all. All brown folks are the chosen ones. We know this. Well, don't everyone know it, but again, man, see, we've been so far removed, man, from what the reality is in terms of our people, man. We, like I said, man, this shit is real, man. They don't know. Half of us don't know, man. Our shit, man. That we gods, man. We're gods and goddesses. Half of us don't even know that shit. We've been so far removed, man, from our legacy. It's a shame. That's what it is. We're so far removed from it. It's a shame. It's a fucking shame, man. Mr. QL, I think the music is playing a major role, homie. Single parents, no monitoring, allowing the kids to have too much access to things not good for them, and we're losing them. Again, that's a fact. That's a fact. I remember, man, growing up as kids, we didn't have that music, man. We didn't have rap music. Rap music for us didn't come around to about 79. But I remember, man, a lot of kids, we all grew up, we were called well, they got the terminology, man, latchkey kids and all this shit. Man, we had keys and shit to the house. We had to let ourselves in because moms and pops and all them, they were already working. What we had, man, was TV for maybe 30 minutes after school. Those of us that did our homework, we did our homework, watched a little TV, and then we went outside and played. You know, we didn't have rap music and hip hop and, a lot of shit that's actually detrimental to us, what I'm saying, at our disposal. I told a story about my grandkids, not understanding how to hit a brick wall or how to climb a tree, get on the roof. And we had all that. We, like I said, man, yeah, things are different, man. Things are different. And they're being served from a different spoon. It's almost the same shit. It just evolved. It's evolved, and they're being fed from a different spoon, man, than we were. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, King, I do want to send a shout out, man, to Damian Porter, man. China man. Hope that you're well, bro. And you know, when you get it together, we'll see you again. We already know that, man. That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. We got you. We got you. I mean, like I said, here's a Bible verse, and I'm going to drop it, man. Because it can serve, it makes sense to me, and it can serve others, man. But anyway, the verse goes, I have said ye are gods. That's in Psalms 82 and 6. This verse is also quoted by Jesus in John 10:34. All right, there you go. Listen, man, we have a lot to do. We have a lot of work to do, man. Um, I like I said, I'm one that, who's gonna do his part. I think I'm active now in this arena or this sphere, just as I was when I was in the streets. You know what I mean? Um, it's a different element for me, and yet, I'm still, I feel like I'm with the business on this. I'm with the business on this. I mean that shit. I mean that shit. We came into this thing, like I said, man, just to share a little history, man, and to be upright about it, not to share, the catastrophes and the chaos, the killings and all that shit, So to this day, I haven't done it, and I'm gonna I'm gonna stand on that square. But I want to be just as active with this and just hollering at our people, man. Speaking with the people as I was when I was trying to put work in on the people. You know what I mean? I think this deserved even more me than I gave back then. And I can only hope that you know other brothers, man, would think and get out the same way, man. The more, the merrier. The more, the merrier. And I mean that to say, man, the more of us who get involved, man, and what need to be dealt with, the more of us who confront what's before us, we're gonna see them results. We'll reap the results, man. We'll see the change, man. Might not be overnight, but you'll see it. I think it's there, man, for us to get, but we got to go get it. All right, C. Sean, I'm gonna answer this question, bro. C. Sean, he asks, "Have you ever given a pass or been given a pass?" Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah. Um, I think this was a year ago, and I'm not gonna say the name, but if the brother, he said, the brother said, "Bub," I look, I said, "Oh, what's happening, homies?" Man, I said, "Yeah, homie, yeah, yeah." I gave him my pass, dead to rights. You know, that was to get down back then. I dead to rights, but it was something. This brother, he's a known brother. He's a known brother. For whatever reason, it wasn't meant to be. That wasn't. I wasn't supposed to. You know what I mean. And I think I had seen him maybe once more because he was creeping late night. He had family or woman over, on the set, and I was a night owl. I did very little sleeping. You know, I'm on a beach cruiser. My I bullshit you not. Might have been 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. Hey, I got you. And something like, nah. I said, all right, man. All right, but you slipping. Um, yeah, I got a pass, man. I was messing with a female, man. I was on West Boulevard over in the 60s. I was messing with a female. And little did I know, cats had seen my car, knew my car. I had a Cutlass back then, on laces. We fixed them cars up, man. Blue Phantom. It was silver. It was, nice and beat in it and shit. I pull up, I'm thinking I'm invincible. And go in, hang out, when I leave, about three of them at my car. Crazy part is, I parked in like a parking lot 3 houses away. So I'm in an empty parking lot, dead to rights. Only reason I'm still talking in that respect, dealing with that, because he said, I don't want to hurt my sister, man. Only reason. That was 1987. That was 1987. And I'm telling you something. I think maybe a month after that, I was on my way back to jail for shooting. I was on my way back to prison. You know, that's just one pass. I got quite a few. I done got quite a few. Not having sense enough to run. You know, all right, well, gonna happen. Fuck it. Been a dumb fuck. The homeboy, man, Bob Mack. A9 East Coast. We all through juvenile hall, YA together. Down dude, solid motherfucker. Moved on the set. And one of the homies was saying, man, it's East Coast living right there in the apartment zone on Hoover Center. So it was okay. I see Bob Mack. I said, nah, man. That's the homie. Nah, man. No. Got him that pass. And matter of fact, man, this is what mama had. Leave him alone. Don't fuck with him. Passes up and down, man. I done got him. That's the truth, homie. So yeah, and I think they're worth something, my humanity, man, it's with me now, I think, because of that, bro. So yeah, man. And there's dudes out there, they give passes, man. Keep giving them. Keep giving them. Because you might be the one that gonna need one. You might be the one next that's gonna need one. Keep giving them passes, man. Keep giving them to the point where when you see them, you just nod and keep it pushing. Move around, man. Keep giving them passes, man, because chances are you're going to need one. You're going to need one, man. Real spit. Real spit. Frederick Frazier. I hope one day I can see the 107s and the 90s shake hands on your podcast. Salute, OG. Well, that's something, again, man, we talking about brothers, man, with history, man. Again, not just that, brothers with history, but we're talking about brothers, and like I said, I'm the first to attest, I don't know how to deal with a lot of feelings. So I'm saying that to say we got brothers, man, got real raw emotions still behind, that situation right there. That's gonna be, something for brothers, man, from both sides to have to come to an agreement on, to come, one day, hopefully. Now imagine that though. Wouldn't that set a precedent? Wouldn't that set a precedent? For real, for real. That'd be something else, man. Al Thomas. Al Thomas said, man, you're reaching more people than you think, bro. They won't admit it though. At least not right now. Well, when they do, you know what I mean? When they get to that, man, it's gonna be appreciated. Let's let them imbibe on this shit some more. Let's let them keep drinking and eating it. You know, get their feel of it, man. Get full on it, man. Might want to share that plate. Pass it on. You know, yeah, they watching. I know they watching. You know, don't watch by yourself though, man. Call your homegirl, your friend, man. Side piece, your homie, man. Y'all sit down and chop it up about this, man. Share it. Like I say, man, I'm just one of many, homie. A lot of us done been through the fire, man. We hardened by this shit, man, in a lot of ways. But at the same time, we understand, man, that man, we got hardened for the wrong reasons, man. There's an army of brothers, man, out there fighting each other. An army. For real. Man. Army of brothers, man. Hey, man, Akeem, man. Hey, Akeem, I don't know, man. I talked to Miz last week, man, from 90, Miz from 90 neighborhood, man. He does a radio show, man. And I'm supposed to go on the radio show. It's on Sundays, man. Matter of fact, hold on. I want to send that out there, man. Y'all check him out, man. Brother's productive, man. He's positive. But Miz, he does a radio show every Sunday, man, at 10 in the morning for about an hour. Like I say, good brother. And we all got our struggles, man. You know, ain't nobody exempt from having to struggle, man, and deal with a whole bunch of bull crap. We all go through it, you know. Yeah, he had just got at me, man. He had just got at me. I'm trying to find this damn radio station. Oh, okay, no. 1 second, people. Bear with me. Bear with me. I want to put this out there. No, that ain't it. And we didn't, man, this brother done communicated so much, man. I I dare near talk to him. I talk, hey man, I talk to him like he a bro, man. He is a bro. He bro. I fuck with him. I fuck with him. And hey, C Rab, what's happening, man? I know you called, man, a week ago, man. Hey, man, when Gilmore called, I, I got to be on Gilmore time, homie. I can't be on Bub time, but I'm gonna pull up on you. Word. Hey man, Miz radio station is KPFK 90.7 FM. And he go in, like I say, every Sunday morning, man, at 10. Y'all get that brother a try, man. Just listen to his get out, man. You know? But yeah, Miz is all right, man. G Rock said, I remember that big booty, that big body cutlass you had. Man, I love that car. Man, so I did some shit one night in my cutlass. See, I was, and I can admit this now. I was a damn fool. So I did this, I did this jack in my cutlass one night. Caught some cats on the set. Them fool pockets was fat. You know, got my shit, boom, jacking. I go to Slauson swap meet 2 days later. uh, I remember that I was playing Rakim, Eric B. and Rakim Pay in Full. I go in Slauson swap meet, man, boom. I'm walking around that motherfucker. I had beaten that motherfucker. I hear, Pay in Full. I'm like, damn, that shit knocking. Come outside, my car gone. Like, what the fuck, right? I'm mad at motherfucker. Like, where's doing my shit? Find out, Cat's Jack was, with some bloods off the east side. They saw my shit, took my shit. So, I went through there. Hey, man, that whole get down. Not no shoot 'em up shit. Let's get that straight right now. I went prepared, but I knew that it was just, I understood how the shit go. But where my car at though? Where my shit at? So Jack went down the second time. Give me undress. Give him change, all that shit. In your pockets, whatever. Found my car. Man, that car was fucked up. It was, man, whacked out the set, everything, man. Man, put put they set on it, everything. Took whatever they took, razor blade to the Phantom, the interior, the rims was gone, the music was gone, shit in the engine was gone, everything was gone. I was like, damn, sitting on bricks. My dumb ass got it towed anyway, man. I never get. I love that car, man. But that car part of the problem too. But I love that car, man. I got that car from my sister-in-law. I came home from YA in 85. It's just sitting in our driveway in the back. I said, man, let me get that car. Oh no, I owe money on that car. How much money you owe on that car? I think I gave that about $1,500, man, for that car, man. Fix that car right up, man. New paint, everything. Boy, me and that car, I got a story to tell about that car. Most of them you won't hear. They ain't all bad either, though. I was in the streets, boy, chasing the girls, the whole nine, everywhere in that car. Yeah. King said, Kev Mack, where you at? Man, real shit, man. I ought to call Kev Mack. But I ain't gonna do it because I know his ass ain't gonna answer. He in Vegas. Shout out to Milk. I see you, little bro. You kicked it off. Stay down for your crown. Okay. Al Thomas again says Los Angeles should be firmly in the hands of black people. Real shit. With all the soldiers and scholars that we have across all sections. Man, you ain't lying, bro. You ain't lying. El Camino. Hey, yep, El Camino. But look, the El Camino was Big Sam El Camino. Funny said, rest in peace. Alky Luke used to let me get the El Camino. His mom's did too. That I can drive that car any day of the week. I'll be in that El Camino all over LA, man. I wanted that car bad. I ended up getting one, but that El Camino was the shit, man. Man. Hey man, look, like I say, man, and I say it for a reason, man. We done all been through some shit, man. We done all encountered and suffered losses, real losses, man. That today that's still visceral. We feel that shit to this day when we think about those who are no longer with us or was taken, man, just unjustly. You know what I'm saying, in untimely fashions or whatever the case may be. We not like we're not immune, man, to being hurt. Being hurt, man, and it's not it's you're not human because some shit you don't want to let go of. That makes us more human, man. That just means you having that struggle within and internally about just the shit you're dealing with, man. I think that at some point, man, we will overcome, man, a lot of our pain, man, a lot of our losses, man. But that's gonna take work. It's gonna take work. It's gonna take those who's willing to do the work, to put the work out there, man, for brothers, to get a bar of, man, become a part of. We can't keep expecting for things to just change just because we think we the shit or we them people. Yeah, we are. But anything worth having, man, you have to work for it. You have to earn it. That's the work in it, man. You put in the work for it. From the thorns to the stars, man. Real spit. But I'm saying that to say, man, I'm gonna get out of everybody's way, man. Um, Again, man, we all we got. You know, you love yourself, man, so that you can love the next man, man. When you see him, man, give him that pass, give him a nod. He all right, cause you all right. You know, love one another, man. Again, love yourself so that you can love one another, man. We all we got, man. On that note, man, I'm gonna let everybody go, man. Before I do, man, again, my shots out, man, to the loved ones. Peace to the gods, to the young king. You know where he is, man. All love and respect, man. Looney, what's happening? From Rolling 60s. That's a G dude, man. Got love and respect for him. Crazo, I hope you're feeling better, bro. I hope you're feeling better, bro. Hey, Cleveland, I appreciate our talks, man. I really do. I look forward to more of them. Hey, Damon, man, come on, man. People been asking about you. Come on, man. Let's get back on track. OG Bam, man, that's my guy, man. Like I said, man, Smack and T-Rail, you brothers know what's up. Milk, you know what's up. Hey, man, look, let's just do what we supposed to do. Let's figure out a way, man, to get this shit done and to get it done right, man, so that, we be all right, man. Not just us, but those that's coming up behind us will be all right. That's really what we're gunning for. That's really what we should be gunning for. And I don't mean like that, but this every move we make, every thought process that we have is supposed to be in support of those that's coming up behind us, man. Because by the time they get here, and we get on track, we do what we're supposed to do, everything will be all right for them. They will be all right, They will be all right, man. On that note, man. Okay, yeah, man. And shout out to the homie, rest in peace, Juice, man. Love Juice, miss Juice. Man, I got a story about me and Juice. We shoot, man. Me and Juice used to win money shooting basketball against cats, man. Man. Hey, man, look, you brothers take care of one another, man. Know one thing, man, the power is in the people. The power is in the people. The power is in the people. Can't nobody give you power, man. You already got it. Just got to tap in, got to tap in. Tap into your power, man, your resource. Again, you are a resource as well. You have been, you are, and you will be under the groove, man. Power in the people. One love, y'all. Take care of each other. Peace.